Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Now, tomorrow happens to be World Blood Donor Day, and in regard to that, we want to have that conversation, the blood donation situation in the country. And in studio this morning, I'm joined by Sylvia Hamati. She's the head of health at Kenya Red Cross. Thank you for joining us. Then there's Charles Rombo, the manager, the Kenya National Blood Transfusion Services, and Peggy Odoyo, who's a blood recipient. Thank you all for joining us this morning. And maybe we can start with you, Mr. Rombo. Who can and who cannot donate blood?
Okay. Thank you so much. There are a series of criteria that differentiates who can donate and who cannot donate. And for a start, if I may just give a few, somebody who is above 16 in other countries can donate, but in Kenya we recommend that somebody above 18 who can, give a consent. And of course they must be tested if they have enough blood in themselves, and of course the weight, we also check the weight, which must be above 50 kilograms.
Okay.
Those are just but a few. There are a series of things that we check.
Okay.
For you to donate.
And you said you have to be 18. Is there a max when it comes to the age, group? At what point should I retire, quote unquote, in donating blood? Okay.
The maximum age is 65. 65. So between 18 and 65.
Okay.
We allow you to give the
okay. And we have specific centers in the country that I can go and donate blood, or it has to be a hospital,
Okay. Thank you. We have around 21 centers. But the desired goal is for us to have a site in each and every county, the 47 county. But right now we have 20 sites, 6 major sites in Nairobi, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru, Embu, and Mombasa. And we have other smaller collection sites based in other towns, around 14 of them.
Okay. Peggy is a blood recipient. Can she donate blood?
Peggy has some special conditions that doesn't allow her to give blood. But if she were okay, she would have given blood. But
what I'm trying to understand is, God forbid I was involved in an accident and I needed blood, right? And I got the blood. Does that limit me in going to donate blood later on in life?
Okay, if you received blood, let's say like today, of course you'll be deferred from giving blood in the next 2 years, and then when you present yourself, we'll check you and check a battery of things, and if you're okay, then we'll allow you to give blood.
Okay,
I get it. There'll be a deferral period.
Okay, Ms. Sylvia, how often should those donating blood do it?
We recommend that for ladies you do it 3 times in a year, every after 4 months, and for the guys you do it 4 times in a year, every after 3 months.
Why the difference?
The difference is because for women, of course, you have other ways you release your blood, like during menstrual periods and all that. So we want the body to get time to be able to recoup the blood fast before we're able to donate it. So we give that allowance for an extra month for that to happen. Okay.
Yeah. And what do those who are donating blood need to ensure that they have enough blood for themselves? Not even for donating, tomorrow, but for themselves.
Absolutely. I think one of the key things is nutrition. You have to feed well. You also have to ensure that your hemoglobin level is 12.5 and above. If you realize that most of the people cannot donate because they have got 11 and below. So if you have 12.5 and above, you can be able to donate. If you're eating well, you're not smoking, you're not drinking, you're not on drugs, then you're able to have blood to donate.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe Peggy, you can share with us the reasons as to why you receive blood.
Yeah, the reason I receive blood, I have sickle cell anemia, and sickle cell anemia is where the red blood cells form abnormally, so we tend to have low hemoglobin always. So when we get an attack, mostly we require blood, but normally our blood level is usually lower than the normal people.
And how often does that happen in a year?
It depends. When you get an attack, if you have an infection or anything, they first have to check your levels. If the level is too low, then the transfusion is needed.
Then the transfusion is needed.
Yes.
And that brings me to the question of how we are doing as a country in terms of blood banks, you know, and blood reserves. And maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Rombo, then Ms. Hamati, you can take it up from there. How are we doing?
Okay, I must say this. If you use WHO formula for calculating blood for a country, we need 400,000 units of blood every year. But looking at what we have been able to realize in the past few years, we've been ranging between 159 to around 190,000 units of blood. And that's our current situation as of now. Yep.
Ms. Hamati, do you have anything to add on before?
I think one thing I'd like to add on is the fact that as a country, Kenyans are willing to donate blood.
Are they? Because that was going to be my next question.
Yes, they
Are
are.
Kenyans willing to donate blood?
I think they are willing to donate blood, but what is lacking is the knowledge that they require to understand when to donate blood, or who should donate blood, and where to go and donate blood. I think that is why we are even here today, to make Kenyans aware that if you want to donate blood, you can actually do it. If you are in good health, if you're fit, you have 50 kgs and above, you are between 18 to 65 years, you walk into any of these centers, you can donate blood. Why I'm saying this is because during emergencies, you see the numbers of people who come out to donate blood. It means Kenyans are willing to donate blood. So we just need to keep that momentum going.
We've seen the scenarios in Kenya where Kenyans are asked to donate blood, you know, any blood type for someone, and not necessarily the blood type, you know, my blood type, for example, if I was in hospital. And it tends to be some sort of trade-off between you know, me the patient and the hospital. Why is that so? Does that mean we don't have enough blood? Does that mean you know, the hospital would rather stick with what they have and go out, okay, bring us more blood?
Okay, that's a difficult question, but I'll try and answer it. On most of the hospitals, I've given you a picture of our blood situation, that we are half.
Yes.
We have never been able to get what we want.
Yes.
And that means that there are definitely some patients or some hospitals that will not get what they require, and they are pushed either to try and seek for some more blood from the relatives. And when a commodity is rare, definitely anybody would want to you know,
to hold on to what they have.
Yes, definitely. And just to emphasize on what Yvonne has said, because I'm looking at a country like Ethiopia, where within 18 months they were able to double up their collections because of advocacy and, you know, letting people know that there is a need here. Yes. So what she says is really true.
There's the issue of contamination of blood in that, you know, whole process of me receiving or me donating blood, me receiving blood. There's a fear of blood getting contaminated. Maybe Silva, you can tell us the steps that are taken to ensure that the blood that, you know, is in our blood banks is safe.
I'll start by acknowledging that we have the head of quality control here, and actually I'll talk about that. Maybe you can add on a bit. I think the blood, why we're even advocating for blood to be donated and taken through the blood banks, is because the levels of safety are actually guaranteed. In terms of when you donate your blood, it's kept safe in the blood bag, taken into the laboratories where it is taken through a battery of tests. So you go through a series, the blood goes through a series of tests for HIV, hepatitis, and many other, you know, factors that we look at. And then after that, it is stored safely. And what normally happens is that storage of safety is maintained even up to the point of transfusion. So the blood that goes through the blood donor services and the NBTS sites is actually blood that is quality controlled and very safe for use. At times the fear we have is when the blood is taken through the hospitals and then transfused at that level. That is why we are advocating for it to be done through the blood donor services. Because hospital level we cannot guarantee the safety, because we don't, the NBTS does not oversee that level of safety at the hospital level. But if the blood comes to the NBTS, it is actually guaranteed safe blood for transfusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me say something on that. Just to cite a study that we did in collaboration with CDC Atlanta, where they were like retesting every unit of blood that we had declared safe. And what they found out was that there was none actually that was retested and found positive, right? So to us it means that, you know, that is some assurance, because considering the methods that we use, we don't use rapid tests to screen for blood that is going to be given to an individual. We use long ELISAs and other more advanced techniques. So I would say that we are safe in terms of the quality and safety of the blood that we receive. We are good to go. We are good to go.
And maybe Peggy, you can share with us your your experience as you have done blood transfusions. Is there that fear of blood being contaminated?
Yeah, there's that fear, but there's usually that time when you're not feeling well and the HB is very low, you're in pain. And when you get the transfusion, you feel much better.
Much better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Blood can be frozen before expiration date, right? How long does it take for blood to expire?
That's a good question. Okay, that's a good question. It seems you have gone into the blood business. You know so much.
Yes.
Okay, now when we get that whole blood, different patients require different components of blood.
True.
And from that whole blood we can harvest different components. We can harvest packed cells, we can harvest fresh frozen plasma, we can harvest cryoprecipitate, we can harvest several other like platelets also. So when we harvest, like let's say fresh frozen plasma, then it's frozen, it can't stay for even a year, frozen for a year. But the packed cells can stay for around 42 days. Yeah, if it's preserved well, it can stay for 42 days.
So there's a good time frame for the blood transfusion to happen.
Yes.
The question I wanted to ask has just disappeared in regard to that. But let's move on, and as we're coming to the end, we're marking the World Blood Donor Day tomorrow. How are we planning to mark the day, as Kenyans?
Okay. What we are planning to do as a service in Kenya, we want to have a walk from KNS, that's the Blood Transfusion Service headquarters.
Yes.
Then we'll take a walk via Upper Hill community and go down to Nyerere Road, that's behind Serena, and then up to this ground in University of Nairobi. It's called Great something, but it's in the University of Nairobi. And we're planning to take a walk there, and just to help create that awareness, as I said earlier, that advocacy and letting people know has a very big impact on the amount of blood that we can have as a country. So we are attempting to do that.
Okay. Sylvia, I've just remembered what I wanted to ask earlier. The issue of maybe fear, beliefs, stigmatization, that I cannot, blood donation should not happen to me due to certain various reasons. How are you being able to deal with that?
One of the components for the blood program is what we call the awareness creation, and being able to tell Kenyans and the public what it is, what does it mean to donate blood, who can receive blood, and also trying to demystify the fears around blood donation. I must say we still of course have a long way to go. We are looking at how to advance this communication to the public in terms of key messages on what they need to understand on blood. We've been doing this for a number of years now, but we are looking at how we can up this and be able to let the Kenyans understand the importance of donating blood, who can donate blood, and when you can donate blood, and even who can receive blood. Like our colleagues who are suffering from sickle cell, there's very little information known out there, the fact that they perpetually need to have standby blood for transfusion when they require it. So we are really looking at how to take advantage of tomorrow, but also moving forward to ensure that Kenyans understand. And maybe just one more thing I can talk about here is we have the Red Cross app that we've just launched a couple of months ago. And if you go to any app store, Android or even the other platform, you download it. On that app store, on that app, we have an icon for blood donation. There's a lot of information on blood donation on that. So for Kenyans who have phones, you can download that app, and when you click on the blood donor icon, you can get all the information you require on blood donation.
Okay. And Peggy, before we end up, Sylvia said, you're always on standby. You never know what could happen, and you need blood. Have you ever had a scenario where you didn't get blood in good time?
Yes, I've had such a scenario where I got complications, acute chest syndrome, whereby the cells around the lungs, the red blood cells, they don't move easily. so there's blockage. So you get that attack where you can breathe well, you get to the hospital and blood is needed immediately. And they start saying that relatives have to come, donate, and the much more you stay, your HB levels go down.
Yes. Okay.
So like we really need if it's really needed at that time, what we request is it should be given at that time.
It should be
given. Because when we get the crisis attacks, the more you stay, the more it gets worse. Yes.
Okay. And maybe, you know, as we come to the end, we can go back to our first question: where can I go to donate blood? You know, just to create more awareness in regard to this.
Okay. Well, thank you. We have several sites where anybody can donate blood, and as Sylvia said, we do also have a website where you can check some of the details. But we have a center in Nairobi. We have a center in...
Where is the center in Nairobi?
It's in KNH grounds.
Okay,
Kenyatta Hospital. A bit hidden.
Yes.
But we normally organize drives, like in Kencom, Bomb Blast area. The drives are almost on a daily basis, and you will definitely know that there's something happening
going on.
Yes.
Okay, so but if you're in Nairobi, Kenyatta National Hospital, what other counties? Mombasa?
We have a blood center in Mombasa where you can donate. We have a blood center in Kisumu, around Kondele area, very open. In Eldoret, next to MTRH, and we also have another one in Embu, also adjacent to the general hospital, the county referral hospital. We have sites in Kisii, we have sites in Lodwar, we have sites in Kakamega, we have sites in Voi because of the road. We have sites Nakuru.
So you're pretty much covered everywhere. And if people wanted this information, they'd be able to come to check onto your website, and they'll be able to get it.
Yes, definitely.
I want to say thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Power Breakfast Show, and all the best tomorrow. Kenyans, please go donate blood. Ladies, up to 3 times a year. Men, 4 times a year. So you don't have an excuse. You're watching
and actually for the ladies, actually for the ladies, if you want to cut down on weight, be a regular donor.
Really?
Yeah. You burn like 600 calories every time you donate blood.
There you have it, ladies. If you want to lose weight, as motivation to donate blood, you lose about 600 calories every time you donate your blood. All right, thank you very much for that. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. We'll be right back.
Thank you.